So yeah, this webinar is all about how to go from being a copywriter to transitioning to being a successful offer owner. This is probably, I don't know, one of the most common questions Stefan and I get from the people in our Copy Accelerator group. Everybody I know that's a copywriter has a lot of interest in being having their own offer, especially after you see how much money your clients are making. So basically, we put together a webinar to kind of teach you how to do that. One of the cool things is this is really based off of what I did successfully going from a copywriter to an offer owner, and same with Stefan. And we've helped multiple other people do that. And we're gonna actually share examples of those people in this call as well. So right now it looks like we got 127 people on the call, which is awesome. I know a bunch of people are gonna filter in. Give us a quick shout in the chat real quick to tell us where you're from. I know we have people tuning in from all over the world. I'd be curious to read some of them off. See, Toronto, North Carolina, Serbia, UK, Israel, Philippines, Austria, Texas, NYC, Germany.
Dude, that's moving fast.
I know.
Brazil, Amsterdam,
Washington, Nebraska, Detroit, Bulgaria. Damn, everywhere.
Vancouver, DR, Italy represent.
Houston, California.
Jeanette, what's up, Jeanette? Up in Toronto. Glad you're on this call. Jeanette's a badass.
Awesome. So we got people from all over the world, all different time zones. I'm sure there's a bunch of people on who are it's 3 in the morning right now for you. So appreciate you coming on and joining us. I'm going to share my screen real quick and we'll get going with the presentation. By the way, I've never figured out how to actually present this where I could actually show the full screen, yet still see all the questions.
I think maybe 2 monitors. Is that do you have 2 monitors? I feel like you don't work with an extra monitor, which is kind of crazy to me.
I'm just sitting on a laptop right now.
You're a wild man. It's crazy.
All right, well, we'll share it like this. Steph, you can handle the chat and let me know what's coming in from there.
Yeah, happy to do that.
So yeah, basically how to go from a copywriter to an offer owner. Big question here is why would you want to be an offer owner instead of a copywriter? So there's a few reasons. Everybody's reasons for these are different, but a couple of ones that definitely appeal to me and a lot of the people Steph and I have helped would be more money. Usually that's number one. You can make a very good living as a copywriter. You can get insanely rich as an offer owner. If you kind of like compare the incomes, there's probably, I don't know, 7 to 10 copywriters in the world who make over $1 million a year from copywriting. I could probably name you close to 100 offer owners that make that much money. So just a much higher ceiling on your income when you have your own offer. More control over your income lifestyle, so that kind of taps into what we just said, but you're not really at the mercy of clients. You're not at the mercy of other people paying you. You have a lot more control over how much money you make and how often you work. So that's definitely a huge benefit as well. The last one, which a lot of copywriters run into the issue of exchanging hours for dollars. And you can even do this at a really high level. I mean, there's copywriters who are making 150 grand, 200 grand, 500 grand that are exchanging hours for dollars. But at some point you kind of hit a ceiling and there's just not much more you can do unless you're getting big kind of royalties and performance bonuses. So a lot of copywriters, the idea of being able to make money while they sleep, being able to make income when they're not working is very appealing. So those are some of the kind of the big ones. Steph, anything you want to add there that stands out to you?
No, I mean, I think that it's really just a powerful thing. I mean, some people know this already, but the idea of not trading time for dollars is very powerful and important and freeing. I mean, as someone who is a copywriter who made over $1 million writing copy, I mean, I made like several $1 million last year, #blessed and all that. But it's like the stuff I made when I was making money from not writing copy, like the amount of effort to make $1 million copywriting versus the amount of effort I put to make like whatever I made $4 or $5 more million not through copywriting. Like there's more effort in that $1 million from copywriting. I mean, it's like a labor of love for me. I enjoy doing it. But it really is something where the effort is much, it's just really nice to be able to get that passive kind of passive income. I mean, obviously you're still doing stuff as an offer owner, but making money when you sleep, like you really actually do that as an offer owner. And there's just a lot of power to that.
And there's a lot of scale. I mean, if you have a 200,000 person email list, send one email and you make 40 grand. It's very, a lot more.
Sorry, but just one more point of that too is as an offer owner and getting that email list. I mean, that's just another thing to point out is like the asset there, because it's not just about the sales you're getting on day one, right? But like as you do scale an offer and get like a big email list of buyers, like that's an asset that you have for the next year or 2 years, however long. And there's just so many ways. So then even if you stop, that offer burns out or you stop running it or whatever, you still have this magical like tool that can generate, a healthy 6 figures or at least mid 5 figures a month for you for an extended period of time. So there's a really nice long tail effect as well.
Yeah. So for everybody watching, if you're a copywriter right now, and you're thinking of, you would like to be an offer owner at some point, pop something in the chat. What's kind of like the biggest thing that would be driving you to have your own offer? I'm kind of curious to hear from everyone on the call. I'll read some of the responses off. Rachel said passive income, less client work, because I own it, lifestyle, made millions for my clients, want to make it for myself. Yep. Freedom, more control, to play more guitar and write less copy. There you go. Awesome. No feast or famine. I want to get rich, more leverage, have a scalable business. Yep. Awesome. These are all very ideal reasons for wanting to be an offer owner. All right, so we'll keep going. So kind of the point I made earlier, I really want to emphasize, you can make a great living as a copywriter, but you can become wildly wealthy as an offer owner. If your goal is to make a couple $1 million a year, the odds of doing that as a copywriter are pretty slim, unless you're as good as Stefan and you're getting huge royalties at the same time. It's pretty hard to do. Like I said, you just got to look at the landscape of copywriters who are able to make that kind of money, and you can pretty much count them on one hand. But when we look at the offer owners, there's a lot of people kind of making that kind of money. So that's probably a big point that's motivating a lot of you. It's something that motivated me. I'm sure it motivated Stefan as well. So one thing I do want to know, making the transition from copywriter to offer owner it's not for everybody. Some people are better off and even happier simply writing copy. I think the people who are I always look at Stefan and I like we are pretty much entrepreneurs at heart, and copywriting was really just a way to get to being an entrepreneur and having our own company. And that's a path that a lot of people have taken, like Chris Haddad, same thing. Stefan did it. I did it. I mean, we'll share some more examples of people like that with you. But if you feel like you just want to write copy and you don't want to deal with any of the issues that go along with running a business and being an offer owner, that's perfectly fine too. But it is kind of worth it to analyze that with yourself and kind of see, am I the type of person that is simply just okay writing copy, or do I want to actually create my own offer, run my own offer, and that? So something to think about. But like I said, if you want to transition from copywriter to offer owner, it's very possible. And I'm going to give you a little rundown of people that have done it, both Stefan and I, and people that we've helped to do it. So Stefan looking snazzy in his tan suit there. So Stefan wrote freelance copy from somewhere around, I'm kind of estimating on these, 2012 to 2015, where he was writing a ton of copy. But he still writes it today. Like you said, he made about $1 million last year writing freelance. Started Holy Land Health, which was a supplement company, grew it to 23 million in sales. He runs Copy Accelerator with me, which is obviously also an offer. He also is co-owner of a supplement company called Science and Natural Supplements. So Stefan is a prime example of someone who started writing copy, eventually transitioned to creating his own offers. He's chosen to do both. He still writes copy, still does offers. Me, on the other hand, I wrote freelance copy for 2 to 3 years. I started my first offer, which was called the 31-Day Fat Loss Cure, in 2010. I made like I think it was $103,000 in profit in 3 months with that. That was kind of my first big break with an info product. Started Patriot Health Alliance, which was a supplement company, grew that to 23 million in sales. I obviously also run Copy Accelerator with Stefan. I also have my other offer right now, which is my Justin Goff marketing letter, which does around 50K a month in profit. So I've created multiple offers over the years. Stefan's created multiple offers over the years. Some of them were wildly successful. Some of them bombed like crazy. But we're going to kind of share what has worked. So actually, before we share that, I want to give you a good idea of some other people who have done the same thing, so you don't think it's just Stefan and I. So Conor Boyland is in our Copy Accelerator group. Really just awesome dude who Stefan and I have really been pulling for the last year or so. Wrote copy and managed email lists in the men's dating space, launched his first offer in 2020, scaled it to over 120 buyers a day off cold YouTube traffic, which is really impressive. His first year in business did 600K in profit. That is freaking awesome. I mean, better than me. I'm sure probably better than Stefan. Just kind of came out of the gate, guns blazing, and just had a killer year. So Jonathon Boyd, Jonathan wrote copy for all kinds of health, financial products, real estate stuff. He has always been into the guitar and launched his first guitar training product in 2019. Last I talked to him, he was in Austin a couple months ago and we grabbed dinner. They were doing 100 to 150 sales a day on cold traffic. Now he's got a 7-figure business on a topic that he truly loves teaching. So he loves teaching guitar. He loves building guitar. Everything he does is about guitar. It's guitar membership site, guitar products, teaching people how to get better with the guitar. It's a niche he truly loves, and they're crushing right now. So one more I want to share is Jeremy Reeves. So Jeremy wrote copy for a number of health offers. I actually hired Jeremy numerous times back when he was just a freelancer. He was the head marketer for Danette May's company for like 2 years. And then in 2020, Stefan and I helped him a bit with his copy for his digestive product. Last time I talked to Jeremy, they were averaging $1 million a month in revenue. So yeah, he's crushing it. He went from writing copy for health products, figuring out what worked, and then decided to launch his own, and is obviously doing really well now. Let's do one more. So Troy Ericson, Troy wrote copy for his own clients. He does a lot of email copy, launched his own offers in 2020 about email marketing. I actually did a whole interview with him on my YouTube channel about this. He went from 30K in 2019 to over 300K in 2020. That is a 10X increase in income. So congrats to Troy. That's a huge, huge jump. And he deserves all of it. All right, so basically you can see there's a lot of people that have successfully transitioned from the copywriter to offer owner. And on this call, we're gonna go over the best ways for you to do it. One big thing I wanna point out, a lot of offer owners waste a lot of time getting caught up in the logistics of setting up an offer. And we're gonna kind of go over that and how to avoid that and what you actually should be focusing on. So like, I mean, one of the biggest questions Steph and I get is from people setting up their offer. They're 90% of their focus is on like merchant accounts and what CRM should they use and how do they set up an LLC. I'll tell you, all these things matter and they absolutely need to be done, but that should be about 10% of your focus. What actually matters is getting your offer dialed in so that it converts, so that you can actually scale the offer. And we're going to dive into how to focus on that and what to actually do for that. So really the main goal here is to make sure that your first offer sells like crazy. That's what you really want. All right, Stefan, you ready?
I'm ready. By the way, Steve Gunn's another person. I don't know if you mentioned that. But I don't know if he was a copywriter or not, but I'm just thinking about how he launched the Tommy Chong offer that scaled to, between 1,000 and 3,000 front ends a day. And even people like Nick Daniel, like wasn't like a full-on copywriter, but he learned copy first and then launched an offer. So I mean, if like you're kind of an offer owner already, or you're sort of a marketer, I think this stuff's still gonna be really valuable. It's not just like you don't have to be a pure copywriter only. Even if you're like a marketer who kind of messes with offers, I would still be paying very careful attention here.
Yeah, that's true. How many people are on the call right now? Can you see?
We got 204.
Oh, awesome. All right. So first up, balancing your time with writing copy and building your first offer. So basically, in the beginning, you're going to have to balance this between your copywriting gigs and working on your first offer. There's really no one special way to do this. However, my recommendation and what worked for me was finding 1 hour in the morning to work on the offer each day. That turns out to 5 to 7 hours a week that you're focusing on your new offer if you're working on weekends too. Um, and the other biggest thing is really not taking on a bunch of extra copy work. Basically, you figure out what you need to pay the bills, you figure out how much money you need to survive and live on, and then you kind of take, and then you kind of say no to everything else because you want that time to create your offer. Steph, anything you want to add with this?
No, I think you're good for now. So I'm responding to people in the chat too.
Cool.
Yeah.
So any extra time you have should go towards working on your offer. A few things I want to make a point of. So don't quit your copy gigs thinking your offer is going to be a home run before you even create it. I've actually seen people do this. It's a terrible, stupid mistake. The odds of you creating it your first offer and just kicks ass right away is not good. So don't assume that you're just going to hit a home run right out of the gate and be making a bunch of money the first day you launch it. Then the second part is just don't take on more copy gigs than you can handle. Like I said, you really want your free time to be spent on creating the new offer. So there's no perfect way to do this, and there's no perfect way to balance it. But this is the method that I followed back in the day. It worked for me. I know it worked for Stefan. A similar kind of thing worked for Stefan as well. So that's kind of step one: making sure you have income coming in from your current copywriting stuff, and allotting the time for you to get working on the offer. So step two is picking a profitable niche. Three things here that you want to consider with your niche is how much money potential does it have? Do you actually enjoy talking and writing about it? And would you want to do it for the next 5 years? These are kind of three big questions I always ask to people who are creating a new offer, because you don't want to get, like, if you put me in a business doing financial stuff where I have to write and talk about financial stuff every day, I would be so bored within a year that I would have no enthusiasm for that. Didn't matter how much money I was making. Didn't matter what the potential of that niche is. It just would not be a good fit for me. Same thing with, I don't know, if you put me in the women's relationship niche, I have no interest whatsoever in writing emails and sales letters to women to teach them how to find the love of their life. It just doesn't appeal to me one bit. I would get super sick and tired of that. And that's a bad spot to be in. And somebody chimed in here and said this this slide can save your life. Definitely. If you go down the wrong path and you pick a niche that within a year you're just like sick of, that's a really bad spot to be in, even if you're making good money, because then it's really hard to leave. If you're making great money with an offer and it's doing well, but you don't want to stay in that niche. So I highly recommend running these three questions, running them by you. Basically, how much money potential? Do you enjoy talking, writing about it? Would you want to do it for 5+ years? So let's go on a little bit further. Proven niches that will always be around. People always ask, what's the best niche? Which niche should I get into? There's proven niches and then there's sub niches to all of them. We're going to dive into that a little bit. So the big ones: health, fitness, financial, survival, language learning. There's a bunch of hobby niches like golf, guns, guitar, photography, writing, stuff like that. You have business, marketing, any type of make money, get a job, whatever, anything kind of in that realm. Credit repair, dating and relationships. These are all proven niches that have been around for years. They're going to be around for years and years in the future. So I mean, you're always pretty safe picking one of these because they're not just going to disappear. And you always want to be in some type of niche that has a potential for a good back end. Like if you're creating a health product, there's obviously great back end because you can sell supplements, you can sell other health information products. You don't want to be in some type of niche where people, it's like a one-time purchase and then they're just kind of done with it. So sorry, got a little cough going on. Always looking for a niche that has a lot of long-term potential. Steph, anything you want to add to this?
Not specifically, but there are some questions in the chat. You want me to read those off or you want to wait till later? A couple of them are relevant to the niches. I'll read you a couple. Like Andrew Trackman said, does it make sense to make an offer that you aren't yet qualified to teach yet, but love? And Stephen Butler kind of replied to that a bit later and said, yeah, like look at how people will bring in other experts. I think that is exactly the way I would generally do that. I mean, I don't think, pretending to be an expert on something when you're not, it's hard to see how that can, you know, not great, but again, if you learn about the niche and you bring in an expert and that's the person who's helping to fulfill the promise, then I don't think you need to be an expert on something before you can create an offer around it. Um,
Yep.
and then Daniel Lamb said, curious about the Jonathon Boyd example, looking at musicians as an example. Would that be a niche worth trying out with an offer? I've been a music teacher and working guitar player in the past life. Yeah, I mean, Jonathan's having success. There's some other. I don't think it's going to ever be like a $20 million a year thing. I mean, it's possible but unlikely. But I think you can get to a healthy 7-figure offer in the music space.
I think you could build a $20 million business in the music space.
You think so? Well, would you do like guitar training type stuff, or like what do you think?
Yeah, I think there's enough with good. It depends what instrument for sure. Like guitars, I would assume is probably the biggest. Like you picked like bass or clarinet, you're obviously not gonna be able to get that big. But I think off like one offer, no. But overall, like there's enough guitar between beginner, advanced, and then a membership. So I think you could get to. I think you could get up there.
I mean, okay, fair enough. I would say it's not impossible, but I don't think it's as easy as getting to 20 million in health, financial, survival, fitness, a lot of the other niches. But yeah, fair. I'm not saying it's impossible, but yeah, harder. And then Scott Connerton said, hesitant to ask this question, but what if you struggle identifying what you enjoy writing or talking about? I don't know. I mean, I think for that, like I would probably just, maybe if you really want to do an offer though, I'd probably like follow the money, but I'd still look at like, is this at least interesting to me? Right? Like, I don't know if you have to enjoy it, but do you at least find it interesting? If you're going to be in health for the next like 3 years, or you're going to be in survival, like, is that something where you feel like you'd be interested in talking about that and being immersed in that world for the next, 2 to 3 years of your life, basically? And if you just don't have a firm answer for all that stuff, then probably don't become an offer owner at this point. Keep writing and wait to figure out. Cause like, you should probably have at least like, yeah, I think I'm fine. I like this enough that I don't mind like talking about it. Okay. Well, last one, I'll let you answer this one, Justin. But Blaine said, what about psychology and helping people to get rid of traumas? Is this related to health?
I don't know if it's related to health, but I would put it in kind of like personal development, probably more. But yeah, I mean, that's helping people get unstuck from their problems, helping people break through their blocks. That's there's a lot of stuff in self-development, personal development that is around that. And absolutely, you could sell a course or an ebook on that.
Cool, awesome. So maybe other questions. We'll let you keep going, then I'll give you some more in a little bit.
All right. So yeah, those are some examples of proven niches. Let's look at sub niches. So fitness sub niche is just a good example here. So you could have at-home workouts, you could have muscle workouts for bodybuilders, you could have mobility workouts for seniors, you could have fat loss workouts for women over 40, you could have workouts for busy moms. This is what you really want to be in. You want to be in a sub niche. You don't want to be in a big general like, oh, I'm in health, I'm helping people improve their health, or I'm helping people lose weight. You're much better off going after the sub niches because it gives you a unique hook, and B, actually I'll show you. Basically, you're better off being in sub niche because like weight loss for women over 40 is much better than just general weight loss. Big reasons here: less competition. It's a lot easier for customers to say, "Oh, this is for me," because your copy is going to be targeted directly towards them. So if you're targeting 50-year-old menopausal women with your product, it's very easy for them to read the copy and think, oh yeah, this is for me. And you stand out from the generalist. One of the biggest issues you run into in the general niches is you have to say something that includes everybody. So a lot of times it's really hard to do that, and it winds up sounding like it's for nobody. So if you can niche down and get into one of the sub niches, your copy will connect a lot better.
Strongly agree with that. I mean, that's the big thing. Like people look at, when you talked about like the first health supplement company I scaled, which is a Christian supplement company. And I mean, I was selling like, blood sugar support or memory support or, weight loss, whatever. So like that was even there. It was like, how can I make it a little bit more unique? And I realized there was a hole in the market because at the time nobody was doing like really targeting conservative Christians like explicitly. Like a lot of the offers were going to them, but just so simply by like looking at, well, instead of just being like, hey, blood sugar support, like, so now it was not just health, and I niched down to like blood sugar, but then I'm like, well, let's like use biblical ingredients, and then it's like, from the Bible and like a Bible-based blood sugar thing, and like by niching down, like even though it's like kind of 2 layers of niching, there's this massive hole in the market, and so it's like, oh, how are you gonna sell? Like, there's so many blood sugar supplements out there, or there's so much this or that. It's like all you need to do is, niching down and finding kind of a unique differentiator, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, so a good example of sub-niching is our Copy Accelerator Mastermind, because it really is a sub-niche when it comes to mastermind. So it's specifically for direct response copywriters, offer owners who want to scale offers on cold traffic. Whereas like the majority of masterminds tend to be a lot more general. There's people from all kinds of, like the Titans mastermind that Steph and I are in, there's a lot of people with businesses that are, there's a guy that owns like 15 dry cleaners that are in there. There's a guy that owns, I can't remember, a bunch of restaurants. So it's like it's a very general kind of group for a mastermind. Yet something like our Copy Accelerator group, it's all health, financial, dating, make money online, personal development kind of offers, who want to scale on cold traffic. So it's a very kind of sub niche. That's kind of a good example of the sub niche. So to kind of recap, step 2 is picking the right niche for the income potential, your fit, and whether you want to talk about that topic for 5 or more years. Step 3, let's get into creating your first product. So probably the biggest mistake I see here is people creating a product that they want and not what the customer wants. So a lot of people come into this and they have this great idea of, oh, I want to put this product out. I've been thinking about doing this forever. I want to share this, blah, blah, blah. I think now I just got to find the people who are going to buy it. And that's actually the exact opposite of what you want to do. What you want to do is find the market first, figure out what they need, and then go create the product. So very different way of thinking about offer creation, but you're going to get much better results when you figure out the market, figure out what's already selling to them, and then create a similar product. I'm going to kind of show you that process here. So everybody asks, how do you know what the customer wants? And this is actually quite simple. Nothing will tell you what they want more than what is already selling really well in that niche. There's literally nothing you could do in terms of surveys, in terms of research, that will tell you more than looking at what is actually already working in that niche. So let's look at some health supplements that sell well. So there was a really popular one last year called Resurge that was created by Brad Howard. Brad's just a brilliant direct response marketer. It was sold via VSL, has a very dramatic opening story, has a personal story of struggling with his weight. A lot of the promises in it are about self-confidence, more energy, looking better. The offer at the end is a 1-3-6 offer of the bottles of the supplement. So you can buy 1 bottle, you can buy 3 bottles, you can buy 6 bottles. The pricing was $49, $139, $209. And the first upsell is selling you more bottles of the same supplement. This is all really important information to know if you are going to create a weight loss supplement, because this offer absolutely crushed. And like I said, knowing exactly what they did at each step of the way is going to help you create your offer so that yours sells really well. Now, if you really want to understand the market and how you should kind of sell it, you need to go even deeper than this research. So the one thing I recommend is breaking down the full VSL or the full sales page for the top 5 offers in the niche you're going into. Conor Boyland, who we mentioned, who had that huge hit with his dating product last year. When I interviewed Conor for my YouTube channel, one of the things he said was he broke down, he literally knew the top 5 offers in the men's dating niche like the back of his hand. He knew the exact stories they used in all of them. He knew the lead that they were using. He knew the mechanism that they used. He knew like what the hook was and what the stories were. Like every single thing about the top 5 offers, he knew. So that's just an example of really understanding the niche. And when I talk to a lot of copywriters, like, oh, I'm going to create a product in, let's say, the health, I'm going to do a weight loss VSL. If I ask them this question, I say, what are the top 5 offers in that niche right now? And they have no clue. That's a telltale sign that they have no idea what this niche is really about. They haven't done the research. They haven't taken the time to go into it. Out of all the things we're teaching here, nothing is going to make you more successful than studying the stuff that's truly working in the niche. Now, one of the things that people tend to ask is, how do I know what's working? This is another example that you're probably not doing enough research. You should be on every email list in that niche so that you can see what offers are being mailed out over and over and over and over again. And if you see an offer that's continuously mailed out, like if you're on a bunch of health lists, you have seen this research offer over and over and over again for the last 8 to 10 months. So all you really have to do is just see what keeps getting emailed out to all these lists, and that will tell you what's working. It's really not, it's not rocket science. I mean, if an offer keeps getting mailed out, it's making that list owner a bunch of money. Stefan, anything you want to share?
No, I'm glad you addressed that, because I know some people were asking about how do you know if something's working or not. And get on an email list to see if the stuff's getting mailed out. I mean, there are like web tools you can use to traffic a place is getting, like Similar Web and other stuff. Yeah, Justin Borg just put Similar Web in there too. But I guess I just to like re-emphasize, like one of the mistakes we see people make a lot is just, again, it's like a product that they're passionate about, but like nobody else really cares about. And then it's B, they just don't go model off what's working, and they try to like reinvent the wheel. And just going back to like anecdotal-ish stories, but you mentioned Conor Boyland, like again, Nick Daniel, V-Shred Scout Nation, I don't know what they did, like 250 million this year. And like literally when he was starting out, he just went and printed all the top offers on ClickBank and started like dissecting them. And then the first VSL that they ever got to hit was basically him just swiping a bunch of other people's stuff. Like well, I think it's just very frustrating. Like we saw it yesterday with a member of Copy Accelerator who's a longtime member and he's had a lot of success, but even like he was like trying to reinvent the wheel, and we're like, dude, like just don't like go look at what's working and model off that, and you can always innovate later. So I just really want to stress that. I mean, my license plate, I have a vanity license plate and it says swipe, because like that's how passionate I am about the fact that you should sort of swipe and model off what's working.
So it's kind of what we said there. You should know what lead they're using, what mechanism for the product, what story they're using in the VSL, what promises are made, what words are used in the copy. This is really important. So if it's a weight loss offer and they use the word thin all the time instead of skinny, that should be something you should probably try to do as well. So the words they're using matter a lot. What the first upsell is, that's huge. The hardest thing about upsells is trying to figure out what works. And if you have a proven model already to what works, simply just model what they're doing. So don't, like I said, don't try. Steph and I basically repeat this probably every day in our coaching program. Don't reinvent the wheel. If something is working already, use that as evidence that you should probably be doing something similar. So kind of what I said earlier, if you don't know all this info on the top 4 or 5 offers in your market, then you don't know the market well enough to create an offer. So when it comes to creating your first product, all you want to do is mimic what the other offers that are working are doing. You can obviously put your own spin on it. You can obviously put your own stories into it, but you need to figure out exactly what the top offers are doing, and you want to end up doing the same. So yeah, a couple kind of examples of this. If they start the VSL with an emotional story, then so should you. If they focus on one ingredient in their supplement copy, then so should you. Again, do not try to reinvent the wheel on this. This is one of those areas where everybody tries to get creative and thinks they're smarter than everyone else. And the reality is you don't get any bonus points for being creative. What you get bonus points for is creating an offer that actually works and scales. That's the whole goal of this. It's not to come up with something new. So recap, first you need to pick the niche, then you need to create your first sales page funnel based on what's working, based on other offers that are working in the niche. Step 4, we're going to go into, which is all of your focus should be on the sales copy and the upsells. So this is the thing I mentioned before. I mean, I can't even count the number of people who, when they want to launch an offer, all their comments are about this. It's about merchant accounts, it's about inventory, it's about who should I have to fulfill it. All this stuff matters to a certain point, but it should be 10% of your focus, not 90%. 90% of the focus goes into getting the sales copy written and the upsell. That's really what matters. That's what's going to move the needle the most. Because the reality is, who you choose for fulfillment, who you choose as a supplier, who you choose as a merchant account, none of that shit matters if your offer doesn't convert. Like literally none of it matters one bit. What matters more than anything is to get the offer to convert. So the main focus is always on making sure your offer is converting. And we'll kind of dive into stuff that really matters here. So what are the numbers that really matter? The ones I really look at, and Stefan, I'd be curious to have you chime in on this, is your front end conversion rate and your average order value. Out of those two, basically if you get the front end converting well enough and you have a high enough average order value, you're going to be able to scale an offer. That's really what it boils down to.
Yeah, I agree with that. And if somebody asked about like lifetime value, and I mean, that's cool, but you're not going to know that for a while anyway. And generally, unless you've got really deep pockets, like it's not like if you know you have a great LTV, but your front end, like average order value sucks, then, unless you want to go negative for months at a time, but then it's really hard to scale. It's a lot better when you have a strong average order value. That allows you to acquire customers, right? I mean, the whole thing with like the conversion rate and AOV, especially the AOV, is the more money I'm bringing in, the more I can spend to acquire each customer, the more customers I can acquire, the more I can scale and grow, the larger my email list gets, the more money I'm making on the back end, all that kind of stuff. I personally am on team try to make some money on day one. Historically, for me with supplements, for example, it's like, 15, 20% profit margin on day one is ideal. But there's lots of people who have scaled to the moon without doing that. And there's massive companies built around just being break even on day one, or even going in the hole. Again, I don't think for most people starting the first offer, they want to go in the hole. But that really comes down to your average order value, because that's how you know what you can actually spend to acquire customers. And then the front end conversion rate, as you're bringing it to other people, again, it's a function of like your conversion rate is going to affect what your cost per acquisition is, which then, affects everything. So that's the real reason why conversion rate is important. It's like a vanity metric. People are like, what's a good conversion rate? And it just depends, right? If you have like a free push shipping offer, then maybe your conversion rate's like 7% or something like that, or 10%. I don't. But then if you've got a thing with an average order value of $180 or $200 and your conversion rate's like 2% at scale, you can scale that to the moon. But yeah, I think, EPC, people talk about earnings per click for affiliates. I think that is, it's a good metric. It can be useful. There's some other ones, but I do agree the two most important ones are conversion rate and what kind of traffic source is it on. And then average order value is just wildly important. If you get those two things right, you'll be in really good shape.
Yep. So if your offer converts and has a high or average order value, you're going to be able to scale it. You're going to be able to scale it with affiliates. You're going to be able to scale it with cold traffic. So let's look at a quick example. So we've been talking about supplements a lot. I'll just keep using a supplement example here. Supplement A converts at 1.5% and has an AOV of $120. Supplement B converts at 1.2% and has an AOV of $210. If we took both of these and ran them on cold traffic, supplement B, the one here that's converting at 1.2%, so it has a worse conversion rate, but it has a much higher AOV. That one's going to be able to buy 10 to 15 times the traffic as supplement A. It's not even going to be close, simply because the AOV is just so much higher, and they're going to be able to buy more traffic and acquire more customers. And over the course of the year, this is kind of what that's going to look like. So supplement A might bring in, let's say, 10,000 buyers and 1.2 million in revenue. Supplement B might bring in 60,000 buyers and 12.6 million in revenue. So completely different year, based on the fact that one simply had a much better average order value than the other, and was able to buy more traffic. Like I said, this is why the conversion rate and the average order value is the number one focus. And this is why talking about things like merchant accounts and stuff like that is really a waste of time. like I said, 90% of your focus should be on the stuff we're talking about right here. So let's go to the last step, step 5. Probably one of the biggest mistakes we see is people trying to launch either multiple offers or trying to launch multiple traffic sources with the offer. So we have a pretty hard, fast rule: one offer, one traffic source. I have this underlined to emphasize it. It is truly impossible for a new offer owner to launch a new offer and get it to scale on multiple sources of traffic. We've seen it tried over and over again. It's not, I can just tell you from experience, it's not going to work. And the big reason why is you simply can't understand all the ins and outs and all the nuance of multiple traffic sources. So the only way to get really good at traffic and to dial in your offer on a traffic source is to focus solely on one traffic source. So if you're trying to scale, let's say you put out your offer and you're trying to scale it on Facebook while also doing affiliate stuff and also creating ads for YouTube, you are going to fail miserably. There's really no way around this. You can kind of stick your head in the sand and think you're going to be the one who beats it, but I can tell you from experience, you're not. Everyone in our mastermind that has gone from kind of copywriter to offer owner that's doing well now started with one traffic source. Once they get to like maybe 100 sales a day and that traffic source is doing well and they got it dialed in, then you can kind of start looking at other stuff. But until you're at that kind of 100 sales a day mark, all your efforts should go into one traffic source. Steph, anything you want to add on this?
I'll just keep emphasizing what you're saying because it's really important. I think people get so distracted and different like ideas come to them. It's just like the power of focus and the power of one thing is just, I don't know, it's hard to understate how important it is.
By the way, I love how I'm telling everybody to stop focusing on merchant accounts, and all the chat is about what merchant account they should use.
That is amazing.
Come on, guys. So the solution is to pick one traffic source and go all in until you hit 100 sales a day. So which traffic source should you focus on? There's a couple that we usually recommend. Email, Facebook, and YouTube tend to be I would say the big 3 that you can kind of get traction on pretty quickly. So email, that could be either affiliates or paid email drops. Facebook is pretty kind of straightforward. A lot of people, if your offer is compliant for Facebook, that would be a great place to start. YouTube, a lot of people are having success on YouTube now. And YouTube has a lot less strict compliance than Facebook. So all of those kind of work. And I would suggest one of those 3 as your primary starting point. So let's recap steps from going from copywriter to offer owner. 1, balance your writing gigs with working on your new offer. 2, pick the right niche for you. 3, research the top 5 offers in your niche. You should really know everything about them. 4, create a sales page or a funnel that models the top offers. 5, focus on one traffic source. This is pretty much, like I would say, a proven plan. Stefan and I kind of have done this ourselves. We've coached other copywriters to do this. Don't make this more complicated than it needs to be. Focus on these kind of 5 things. 90% of your focus should go on creating your sales page and your upsells, and really dig into the research on the top offers that are working within your niche. All right, so if you end up doing this, by the way, guys, we're going to wait on questions for now, so we'll wait till the end on questions. If you do this, you're going to be well on your way to creating a successful offer. And now, so if you're one of the people who actually wants to go from copywriter to offer owner, then kind of here's what we suggest your next step. So if you're on our list, you notice that we have our virtual event coming up February 23rd through the 25th, which all the top offer owners and copywriters in our mastermind are going to be at. In attendance are going to be companies like VShred, Golden Hippo, Agora, Primal Health, Paleo Hacks, TrueGenics, Blink Publishing, Credit Secrets, Investors Alley, Native Path, and a whole lot more. And then a bunch of individual offer owners that you might know. Some of the ones we shared today: Conor Boyland, he's doing about 120 sales a day. Jonathon Boyd, over 150 sales a day. Mattia Paganelli, over 200 sales a day in the Italian market. Steve Gunn, who's doing over 1,000 sales a day, and Steve's actually going to be speaking at the event, talking about how he scaled his offer to 1,000 sales a day. Plus, we're bringing in some A-list marketers to talk, including John Benson, Henry Bingaman. Henry's probably one of the best copywriters in the financial niche. Pauline Longden. We have a mystery guest, Mr. X, who is probably, I don't know, one of the top 2 email marketers in the world right now and just crushes on email. James Van Elswick, who is kind of like the godfather of media buying. And then Carleen Anglade Cole, who is a true A-list copywriter, commanding $25,000, $30,000 for every sales letter she writes. So they're all going to be talking at the event. And our events, if you haven't been to them yet, are specifically about how to get an offer to scale on cold traffic. So we're going to dig deep into ads, sales pages, and upsells. And we talk about stuff that's working right now. We're very adamant about focusing on stuff that's working right now so that you can use it in your own business or use it with clients. We don't talk about shit from direct mail from 1993 that is completely outdated. We're focused on exactly what's working now with funnels, ads, and sales pages. So basically, you get all the best secrets, tips, and tricks for getting an offer to scale on cold traffic from us. So if that appeals to you, Steph and I highly suggest you apply for one of the sit-in seats at the event. How many applications have we had so far? I think we had like 70 so far, something like that.
I think we have more than that, honestly. I think we're closer to 80. I was just looking today. Yeah, we're at 80. Yeah.
Yeah, so 80 people have already applied. So the event is by application only, and we do this to keep the quality of the room high. The people in our mastermind are paying anywhere from $15,000 to $40,000 to be in our mastermind. So we don't want just anybody coming to the events. So this is why we do it by application. Basically, you fill out an application, and if you're a good fit, you have a call with Blake from our team, and he'll see if you're a good fit. The price is normally $29.50 per ticket for our events. But since this event is virtual and our costs aren't as high as when we have a live event, we knocked the price down to $14.50. So huge steal compared to the normal price of the events. Kind of one of the bonuses I want to share with you. If you get accepted to attend, you also get to test drive our Copy Accelerator Lite Mastermind, which is a $15,000 value for a full month leading up to the event for free. So you get to be in the group, you get to be on the weekly calls, you get to be in the membership area where, I don't know, $60,000 worth of training videos that Stefan and I have put in there. You have access to all the previous events videos, all that stuff you have access to for an entire month. In there.
Hey, Justin, by the way, too, I have my screen up, you can finish, but I do want to show people what's actually inside our members area in the Facebook group once you're done, because I want people to be able to see like how crazy the value actually is for the ticket.
Okay, so you get all that for just $14.50. I want to make one thing clear real quick. We see this at every event we have. Lives are literally forever changed. I don't mean that in like a hokey way. I mean that in a real substantial way. People's lives completely change from the event and from what happens after the event. We see it at all of them. I'll give you a couple examples here. Randall Pruitt is kind of one of the superstar copywriters in the mastermind, went from $15K a month to $45K a month as a copywriter. Conor, who we mentioned earlier, was making around $50K a year as a copywriter, now did $600K as an offer owner. Ariba, who is one of the up and coming stars, landed 2 retainer clients and made $10,000 in 2 months after the last event. Cool thing about Ariba, she is only 21 years old. She lives in Pakistan. English is not even her native language, yet she's still crushing it. So pretty amazing on that front. Michael Roshin, probably one of the most amazing stories we had. In 2019 at Christmas, he couldn't even afford Christmas presents for his kids. He was trying to get a job with, I think it was like Uber Eats or something like that. Wound up getting into copywriting, came to the event, and he landed a $10,000 a month copywriting client at the event. Kimmy Du, who is superstar at 16 years old, which is just unreal. She landed a $5,000 retainer gig with Credit Secrets, who is a member of our mastermind. So at 16 years old, she's literally balancing high school and writing copy and already doing great. Steve Gunn, we mentioned a few times. Steve is actually going to be speaking at the event, but Steve had a failing CBD offer that was dead. Now it's bringing in over 1,000 buyers a day. If you've ever seen the Tommy Chong CBD offer on native traffic, that is Steve's offer, and it's absolutely crushing. Jonathon Boyd, who we mentioned, John's over 150 sales a day already on his guitar training product. Sam Novak, Sam, I think it was last year, Sam lost a big client, but she's now making over 6 figures a year as a freelancer. So like I said, these events, they do change lives. We see it literally every single event. There's people that come that are in one spot, and by, I don't know, the end of the event or 2 months later, their life is completely different. So if you're one of these people who's kind of ready to step up to the next level, highly suggest you apply for a ticket to attend the mastermind. The sooner you apply, the more time you'll have to test drive the mastermind. You can be on the weekly calls. You can be in the group. You can, basically so much stuff that you can get into going up to the event. You get to go into all the member area and see all the training videos that Stefan and I have shot. Is literally like, I don't know, $70,000-$80,000 worth of videos in there. But I'm going to have Stefan real quick show you the members area and all that. Are you ready now?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Cool.
And I've been putting that link to apply in chat. Just give me screen sharing powers, Justin, por favor. Perfect. Cool. So yeah, I mean, like the thing to think about, like the ticket is $14.50. But in addition to getting, to come to the virtual event, which obviously you've got a lot of the biggest names in direct response, both copywriters and business owners. You saw the lineup, and you can look on this page we've linked you to. And I mean, everyone from like John Benson and Steve Gunn and James Van Elswick and all of these amazing people. Like the stories about the event themselves is a crazy value. Like it's not fluff. It's like people giving you hardcore, very simple things, whether you're a freelance copywriter or you're an offer owner, no matter if you're a beginner or you're very advanced. Like I think another unique thing we've done is we have something for everyone, and things that will really make an impact on your life, your ROI, your bottom line, and all that stuff. But in addition to that, with the event, you get to join our mastermind Copywriter Lite for basically all the time leading up to the event. So the event's the 23rd through the 25th. You've got basically like a month, 4 weeks, that if you buy your ticket today, you're in the mastermind. But what does that entail? Well, Justin and I are doing weekly training calls every single week for about an hour and a half, where we're breaking down stuff that's working right now. We're teaching on a variety of topics. So, and then you also get recordings of those, which is really cool. So members area. So this is the members area. I'll show it to you right here. For people who want to go deeper in RMBC, like I've taught RMBC twice already, and you can see right here, these are all hour and a half long calls where I'm breaking down RMBC. And then people were talking about Justin and his Olaf method and all that. Well, guess what? We did 3 different calls on upsells plus a call on downsells. People were talking about how to optimize checkout pages. Hey, look at that. There you go. But then you also see the most recent calls. So you've got calls on growing your business. We have calls on Facebook compliance and running compliant Facebook ads, open Q&As. And as you come into here, we have trainings on leads, headlines, fascinations, how to do an empathy map, multiple trainings on how to write killer closes, emotional storytelling, how to come up with a big idea. I mean, it's like a wild treasure chest. Remember, every single one of these calls is about an hour to an hour and a half long. We broke down that research offer in one call just to kind of look at the copy for it, talking about the biggest headline mistakes, breaking down other sales letters. We have a bunch of trainings on email copy. We have a bunch of trainings on conversion boosters. Like we have stuff on the business, like and strategy of copywriting. And then we have, Q&A calls and guest calls. That Chris Haddad did a session. We've had a bunch of cool stuff like that. I actually keep going for a long time here, as you'll see. And we have a bunch of compliance calls where we've had people review copy and talk about how to make it more Facebook compliant. So if you're struggling with compliance, you get that. This is literally, you get access to all of this with your ticket to our event. The ticket, we don't have to do it. The event will be transformative no matter what. It's insane. And I'll get to that in a second. But in addition to that, you just get this entire massive archive, and we're doing new trainings every single week, which you'll get if you buy your ticket, apply and get approved. The faster you do that, the faster you're going to be able to have access to all of this. Plus, for our members of Copywriter Lite, which you are when you get a ticket, you get in for a month or however long until the event. We now have 3 additional calls we're doing every single week. So in addition to the main call, our full members and our Lite members, we've created 3 additional calls. We have 2 copy feedback calls per week, one with Saba Creamy, one with Mike Abramoff. And those, you're actually looking at your copy, reviewing them, giving you feedback, all that kind of stuff. And then we have a business of freelancing call with Brian Sparinello. So for freelancers, there's a weekly call where Brian will help you with trying to get projects and proposals and how to charge more on your rates and all that kind of stuff. So you can see like, here's a bunch of those recordings. And then there's all kinds of other stuff. There's my swipe file. There's some additional sales letter sections. There's some video critiques. You also get recordings to our previous events, which is insane. If you've heard our previous events are insane, we literally have the one from the last virtual event where you have like all kinds of amazing people. Emily Lark's talk, Dan Ferrari, Amber Spears, David Deutsch, Carlene spoke last one. She was so good, people wanted her back. Marcella Allison, Mike Buentepo. And then there's our event in Vegas from last year, February. We have Tyler Bramlett did a crazy one, Matt Harmon. I mean, I honestly don't want to like overwhelm you and give you the fire hose, but the point is you literally get, this is like $100,000 worth of content, honestly, like more. And you get this when you get your ticket to our event. Plus you also get into the Facebook group. So this is the full Copy Accelerator Facebook group. And you'll see that it's hyper active. People are asking for help with everything from like reps to looking for copy feedback. Now, as a light member, you do not get feedback from Justin and I specifically. That is only for Copy Accelerator Full, which is full. But being in here, you can still watch as you'll see that we're giving content. Like I shoot a lot of Loom videos, or I'll write out content, different things like that. So you'll be able to see that. You'll see people are asking questions. Somebody asked about Larry King and credit secrets and if they're going to be okay after Larry King passed away. So I just want to scroll down and show you an example of that. Well, actually, before I get to that, talk about going from a copywriter to an offer owner. Ryan Hunter is doing that right now. He's literally documenting everything and sharing like all of his wins, the statistics, like the struggles. I mean, this is stuff that you just can't get anywhere else. And our members are giving you crazy breakdowns of that stuff. But like, let me get to the one from Jay real quick too. Some more copy reviews, blah, blah, blah. Cool one from Alvin Huang, who owns TrueGenics. Michael Rasheen posting. Jay, yeah. So Jay, I mean, after Larry King passed away, Jay, Larry King was one of their spokespeople. Jay wrote this like crazy post of all of these lessons that he learned and how he made themselves like diverse and protected so that when Larry King passed away, their business was okay. Like this post is honestly has thousands of dollars, if not six figures, depending on where you're at, of value. And our members are just putting stuff like this every day. So in addition to that, you'll get into the live event group, which is hyper active right now. This is leading up to the event. It's only for attendees. People are introducing themselves. They're sharing their stories. We're helping each other and supporting each other. All that is included when you get a ticket to the event. So again, Justin, I'm assuming you've been putting the link in the sales page, but if you're thinking about it, like it just would be wild for you not to apply if there's any way that you can afford it. I get it. If you can't, you can't. But if you're sort of like, well, it might be a stretch, but I can see the upside and you feel like, realistically, in your heart of hearts that you could do it, you're just scared, then you should not be scared. Like the relationships you make at the event, the connections, the networking, whether it's getting clients or doing JVs or finding things to help you scale your business, no matter if you're a freelancer, no matter if you're a beginner, if you're an expert, our event is for you. It's an incredible community and our community is wildly supportive. So go ahead and apply if you haven't already. And I'll stop sharing, but I want to share that because again, I just think that that's the value on this is just absurd. And, but we want to over deliver everything that we do.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, the ticket too, like we said, the sooner you get in, the more time you have to, like a lot of people just wait till the last minute and buy the ticket, but that means you don't really get as much time to be on the calls and in the group and getting feedback and taking advantage of everything that the Copy Accelerator group has to offer. So highly recommend doing it, like I said, today. It is by application. So you'd fill out the application and then you'll get on a call with Blake from our team. It's not we don't do like high pressure sales or anything like that. It's literally an actual call where Blake is just feeling you out to see if you're a fit for coming. And if you're not a fit, he'll tell you. If you are a fit, then you're able to buy a ticket. So yeah, highly recommend it. Like I said, the event is really targeted towards copywriters, offer owners. We get a lot of media buyers as well. But I mean, the focus is on creating offers that scale on cold traffic. And that's really what we're going to talk about for the whole event.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, with the application stuff too, it's not like and I've had people email me and they're like, do I need to like be prepared? Should I study stuff before the call? It's not really about that. Again, if you're early on, like we want you, like we really have a welcoming community. Honestly, more than anything is to make sure you're not an asshole, because we just don't want some person who's like sort of a big time, person, or they're just like a jerk, or they're like whatever. Like we don't want those people at our event. Like if the community, the mentorship, the support that you get from attending is just so incredible, and like one bad apple can ruin it. So more than anything, that's the reason why we're doing the application call. I mean, it's not about, we don't care if you're doing 1,000 sales a day or you're doing 10 or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter if your heart's in the right place and you're coming to learn, to contribute, and you're like excited, then we want you. But if you're coming with this arrogant attitude and you're a jerk, we don't want you. So it's pretty much as simple as that.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize too, this is a completely virtual event. So wherever you are in the world, you can attend. We had people from Australia, Pakistan, India, just everywhere last year who attended the event. So yeah, it's our digital event last time went insanely well. People got a lot out of it. You can see some stuff in the comments going on. But yeah, Stefan, you want to answer some of the questions in there? By the way, if you are already coming to the event, feel free to pop something in the chat right now saying I'm in. I'm kind of curious how many people on the call are already going to be coming.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, I think one of the questions was on the awesome. What time is the event? So it's the first night there's a cocktail party, which by the way, it's a virtual cocktail party, but we have an incredible secret surprise speaker guest coming who's a massive legend in the space. So that'll be fun. And then now that's around like, I don't know, 6 or 7 Central. And then they basically start at 10 a.m. The next 2 days will be 10 a.m. Central time until about, well, the main sessions will go to like 4 or 5 Central. And then we have like things at night too, activities and things like that. We have like a final night party as well. And like a lot of networking. We use a really cool thing called Air Meet that basically it's like a poker room. We see tables and you can select a seat and then you're in like these chats with people. And it was shocking. I mean, at the end of the night, like we went for like an hour and we're like, all right, well that's it. And then like I came back on like 3 hours later and there's all these tables full. People were still talking. They were still networking. The relationships were just built that were crazy that were built. Yeah, I see a lot of people. And by the way, there's a testament to the fact that all these people bought tickets, but they're still here. And then now I'm like pitching on it, right? But like they're still here because they're like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. You should come too. It's not like they don't have to be here, but they're here because they truly are a huge part of our community and they're a huge part of, they're so excited about it. I think that's really powerful as well. Sean said, I'm going to apply. I'm really glad you are. Yeah, Heidi said, going to CA Live last September changed everything for me. Still me on CA Lite, which gave me both the advanced copywriting skills and super supportive networking community I didn't even know I was missing in my career. That's awesome, Heidi. But yeah, even though the last event was digital, it was extremely valuable. Robert Woodstock said, the energy last time, despite being virtual, was just crazy. It was honestly a blast, Sam said. Yeah, Lauren, that's interesting. Lauren said, I normally hate networking, but I loved it at the last CA event. And then Peter said, I think I stayed at those tables till 1 or 2 each night. Crazy value. And Brian said, I'm assuming the event will be recorded if there's a scheduling conflict on one of those days. Honestly, like I will be honest with you, the recordings aren't going to be available unless you were to join CA Lite. So like you need to attend for the recordings. Well, you need to attend and actually have to be in the mastermind to be able to view the recordings, or buy a ticket for the next event after that to view them. But that's why the fact that we never sold the recordings to our events, which is why when you buy a ticket right now and you get the recordings of the last 3 events we've done, is actually like an insane thing, because like you can't find them online. We could make it its own offer and we just straight up don't do it. So, yeah, I'll put the link in one more time. I really think you should apply. Cody said events and masterminds like this allow you to evolve as a human and freelancer. You'd have to actually try it and not get an ROI. Totally agree, Cody. I love you saying that, but I totally agree, man. I was shocked. Honestly, like a virtual event, I really thought, like, is it even going to be that good? I was really sort of like not sure. I was like nervous, and then it exceeded every one of my expectations. Like I had, for those of you who've gone to events before and that post event kind of like let down where you feel kind of like bummed it's over, I didn't really know if I would have that for a virtual event, and I had it hard. It was like crazy. It was like you're so plugged in with this community of people. You're learning so much, you're growing so much, you're networking so much. It was just wild. Like I didn't think I would have that, and I did, because it's really the way we do it. Like it's very high-end production and stuff like that. You really feel like you're at an event. You really get like this deep connection with people. And Austin White, I saw that you applied as well. I hope we get to see you soon too. That'd be awesome, man. Yeah, cool. Anything else, Justin, you want to add here?
No, let's wrap it up. I want to thank you guys for coming today. We had over 200 people on this webinar, which is awesome. Hope you got a lot of value out of it. Hope you got a lot of stuff you can take away to, like I said, on the journey from moving from copywriter to creating your own offer. it is a really rewarding thing to create your own offer. It gives you a lot of freedom, a lot more money, a lot more, I don't know, kind of control over your income. And like I said, I highly suggest probably rewatching this. I'll post this on YouTube and we'll post it in the Facebook group as well. But I highly suggest focusing on the things we talked about. Don't get bogged down into the details of the other stuff that I recommend staying away from. Anything else you want to say, Steph, before we wrap up?
Yeah, one really quick note, because I think Melissa and Andre had asked me if I could do an upcoming email about a good way to prep for the event if you're a freelancer and want to network. And I'm down to do that, but also Brian Sparinello, like the weekly business of freelancing calls he's doing, literally every single one of the calls leading up to the event is about how to maximize attending an event as a freelancer. So he's like literally giving you a strategic breakdown on like live calls where you can ask questions and interact for like every single week leading up to the event. You get like a master class on how to optimize and maximize your investment in the event and to get new clients and to build new relationships and stuff like that. So pretty insane but yeah, that's already being provided for you as well.
Yep.
And other than that, thank you everyone for showing up and stuff. It was super fun as always. Again, I got the Rona right now, but I felt energized hearing you talk, Justin, and just really enjoyed getting to do this with you.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you guys, again, we'll give you a last pitch here. Apply on the sheet if you want to come to the event. We'll do a call with Blake. And yeah, we hope you get accepted and we hope you can attend, and we'll hope to see you at the event. Thanks again for showing up. Thanks again for chiming in and being active during this call. I'll post the replay on YouTube. Feel free to check my YouTube channel out for that. That's all we got. Enjoy your day.
Sweet. Thank you, everybody.